but they're both bottom fish. This is the way they are on the seabed. They camouflage themselves quite well, and with these fins they're able to bury themselves in the sand, so they'll be practically unrecognisable sometimes, apart from just maybe the eyes appearing above the sand. So that's your brill. So that's something we're going to do today as a first course. And what these guys like to do very much is to scale it, because this is one, as I say, Blue Peter I've done before. This is a brill unscaled. You can probably recognise it as being a lot brighter, a lot more colour with it, and actually looks much nicer. But what I've done is, just before I came, I scaled it all off. Because these guys, these chefs, you know, they're really, really fusspots. You know, my ambition really is to send every chef to sea for a week. That'll sort them out. They won't complain to me anymore after that. But there we are. We scale them all like this. We get all these scales off. As I've done it earlier, and that's where they like to have their fish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually fillet this fish. I'm going to start with the light side. It's the light side, the slightly the thinner side, and I'm working off the thick face. So I'm making my first cut up towards the head, and then I'm going to slide the knife nice and flat, keeping a fair bit of pressure on it until I get right down to the tail. And then I'm making my way into the centre bone. And I just cut over the tail like that, and then into the bone again, and then I cut back up to the head. So we're right up to the head, and we've taken off a quarter of the fish already. Keeping it nice and flat again with the knife. People say a sharp knife is a help. Let's try a sharp knife. It's a skill as well, I assure you. And these guys, these chefs, particularly here in Padstow, are very skillful as well. They do a lot of their own filleting. So we take one side off the brill there. So now I'm going to turn it over and do exactly the same thing again. Take a split across and down the side of the fish, feeling your way down the side, trying not to jag the bones in, not making too many cuts, because some people actually want to go like this all the time, and then you get a fillet then, which is all jagged and all, it's not very nice. You guys wouldn't like to eat it in a restaurant. And you cut the tail off like so. Just feather your knife in slowly into the bone, nice and clean, and then work the knife back up to the head like so. The head being the thickest part of the fish, you cut as close as you can, and then the knife again, just work the way down to the tail, and then we just take the fillet off, and then we have two nice bits of brill. And what I do back in the factory very often, I look at the bone to make sure my filleters left no fish on the bone, because that costs me money on there, so I'm always looking. But sometimes with a spoon, and you can get a little bit off, and you can off me. I don't do this as often as I used to on my dad. So there we are, we've got two fillets of brill. They just need a bit of tidying up. Now these brill are caught all around the shores of the southwest coast. Around Cornwall in particular, we have a huge coastline, as you all know. And it's very rich with seafood, a very diverse seafood we got. And we need to be very proud of what we got around here, because it's quite unique really. Because we can land at Newland Market very often 20, 25 varieties of fish in a single day. Now there's bigger markets all out through Europe, but they don't have the selection of fish that we get here in the West Country, particularly in Cornwall. So we're very proud of our markets here. I know there's been problems in the industry over a number of years now with different things, because we're very governed by Brussels, as you all know. But in spite of that, a lot of good things that come out of the industry. A lot of people are diverse in the industry. A lot of people are now line catching fish. And you get the line caught bass. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You get the line caught pollock, and we get the sardines now, which we never used to get here. We're getting anchovies we never used to get here. So there's an awful lot of good things going on, and it's things that we need to be proud of. We need to be proud of our heritage and our industry, which is still a fantastic industry. There's a lot of people involved in the industry, even today. I mean, at my factory there are 50 at the moment, and 70 odd in the summer. There's a number of companies around like that in West Cornwall. And the crab industry, for instance, the shellfish industry, the mussel industry now. I mean, there's guys with mussel lines in Northfield Bay, and they're supplying the most fantastic mussels you've seen. And I think sometimes it's been born out of a bit of adversity at times. There has been a few problems, and people have got off their backsides and done things, which is fantastic. And that's what we're coming across today. But this brill you'll find is caught by what we call as small trawlers, mostly by day boats. And what they do is they work a single trawl. You get the big beam trawlers, they work two trawls each side, and they have lots of chains on their trawl, which actually dig into the sand which primarily catch Dover soles. But these are what they're caught by an altar trawl. An altar trawl is just a single trawl over the back of the boat, and they have two boards out, and they just trawl, and they're not actually doing the damage that a beam trawler would do. What you see here in Padstow is boats there in the harbour, and they're what we call netters. They set nets for hake and things like that, hake and pollock and coral. So there we have our brill. And then we have a nice fillet on that side.
The product that we get from the sea, particularly from Mathew. I've been working in Padstow for 12 years. I started at a seafood restaurant in 1999, so I'll work my way through the company. Rick Steins, an amazing guy to work for, very, very passionate, as you all know, from the TV programmes. He's out and about, and he's doing recipe testing and bringing new dishes for our chefs to work with, which is an amazing thing for us. So I'm very, very happy working there. Mathew has been working, we work with Mathew as our main supplier of seafood. He does a fantastic job. He always goes the extra mile for us. He'll come out in the afternoons, he'll do 2 deliveries for us. And if we ever need anything, he's always the man to call, and he always pulls it off. So a big thank you to Mathew. Okay, so moving on, like he said, he's got the brill, very, very popular in the restaurants. Turbot is probably the king of the fish, and if turbot is the king, then probably brill would be the queen. So today I'm going to be making something nice, powerful, wintry, seasonal. I've got some wild mushrooms, I've got some leek, carrot and celery. I'm going to make a mirepoix, I'm going to make a sauce. I've got some porcini mushroom there, which has been soaking. A little bit of balsamic goes in there, some red wine, some chicken stock, and we'll juice that down. So straight away, I'm going to chop up some celery, some onion. This is just a basic mirepoix, so all sauces. This is the basic sort of ingredients that you'll be using to make a sauce. The thing with Rick's Cookery is, as you probably well know, it's based on simplicity. It's based on the best produce that you can get. So when you're going to go shopping for stuff, as we do, look for really good quality fish. You're looking for a nice bit of slime on there. It shouldn't really smell of fish. The eyes want to be clear, and the gills want to be nice and bright and red. Get some power into this pan. So we've had a fantastic summer in Padstow again this year. We've opened our new place in Falmouth, which has gone brilliantly well. We've got a deli down there as well. So the Stein Empire never stops growing, which is brilliant. Okay, so into this pan I've just put a knob of butter. Another little pan, start my onion. I've got some baby onions here which have been peeled, and I've got some garlic which hasn't been peeled. So into this pan I'm going to put a little bit of butter as well. So this needs to get some heat going, and let's turn this up.
Paul, can I ask you, when you're doing things like this, you know, I notice you haven't peeled the carrots, you haven't peeled the onion and the garlic as well. Is that all part of keeping the flavours in and using it?
I'm just making a sauce, a stock, and I'll be passing straining this through, so you won't actually be eating it, so I'm just sort of attracted.
But it just adds to the flavour, doesn't it?
So they've been washed and they're cleaned anyway, so it doesn't necessarily need peeling.
Goodness, I know, we all get very hung up about peeling things, don't we?
Okay, that pan's getting warm, so I'm just going to pop some baby onions into there. And also the garlic. That's with all the skin on. So we've also got our pub in St Mary, and that's doing brilliantly well as well. So the cafe also does well. The whole Stein thing does really well.
Yeah, no, this is an advert for Rick Steins, isn't it? Yeah, well, it's great having you here preparing the dishes for us.
The thing with Rick is he's quite humble, and he's quite shy, and he's not big-headed, and he's not, as you see him on the TV, is as he is really.
Yeah.
He's just such an honest guy to work with. He's inspirational.
It was interesting you're talking about recipes because, you know, presumably recipe testing goes on all the time for new ideas, new things that are coming on. Food can be quite fashionable, can't it? One minute you can have something that's very popular and see on every menu, and the next minute something else has come in to replace it?
I think TV has played a massive part in the way that cookery has turned out. So when I was young, when I was learning to be a chef, it wasn't about, I could have been a bricklayer or I could have been a plasterer, I could have done anything. Chefing wasn't a huge thing like it is now. I just decided I enjoyed cooking. I used to cook at home. I thought I wouldn't mind being a chef. It's long, hard hours, but it's a rewarding job. You can travel with it, which I found that I could. But nowadays, you've got all with Jamie and obviously Gordon and people like Rick that are on TV, everyone wants to be a chef and got to come down with me and various restaurants. It's never ending. So it's sort of taken over. The industry's gone huge, which is good.
Does it mean it's more competitive for people like yourselves who are chefs within a company?
What you tend to get is that everyone wants to be a chef, so everyone wants to be a chef now. They think that it's an easy thing to be on TV. You're going to get on telly and become famous, but it isn't like that at all. It's long, hard hours, really.
Yeah, and as you say, for 12 years you've been down here, but that's not the length of your career, is it? You've done much more than that, travel.
I was 29 when I started at the seafood restaurant, so I've been travelling, been to Australia, I've worked in France, I've been a chef, I've worked in UK, I've worked in London.
And what about those experiences across the world? Have they meant that the way that you cook is different as well? Have you picked up hints elsewhere?
When working for it, you have to sort of follow the recipes. You can't sort of show your flair as a chef. But he is the master of seafood, so it's not such a bad thing that I often say that I've been brainwashed by Rick Steins recipes because I sort of know every little detail that he does with his stuff. But
so you can't put a cheeky little bit of Paul Harwood in there, then?
Not really, no. I think the thing with cookery is, and this is a very important part, is that it's a regional, so Rick goes to Italy and he goes to a regional place and he tries a dish and he comes back and emulates it. He might tweak it a little bit, but the ingredients that they will use and he will use. So he's not just thinking, oh, I might chuck a little bit of lemongrass in this one, which is from Asia. He sticks to the mushroom juice, red wine, that's reduced down. Now I'm going to put in some chicken stock. And then in this pan we've got shallots, garlic, that's with some butter and a little bit of sugar. That's like a little garnish. This needs to really start bubbling up now, which it will do. It's always funny coming to these things because you never know what the stoves are going to be like, you never know how much power is going to be there. And obviously in the kitchens we're using like real high powered stove. Okay, so there's the brill, which I'm just going to pop on my board. Get some seasoning on there. So I've got some black pepper there, just a little pinch of that. And some Maldon flake salt. Anyone got any questions? No! David, question?
I just wonder where you flew Cornwall, chef.
Oh yeah, good point. Trust David to stitch not a question like that. I'll watch this board after, we'll be alright. Yes.